Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to Vico Constructor 2008 11th tutorial. I am engineer Muhammad Qasim Shinwari to teach you in this tutorial. In this tutorial, we are going to dimension our project. For dimensions, as we do for each case, double click the dimension tool in the toolbox under the document tab, or simply click on the settings dialog. Make sure that linear dimension type is selected. You can also practice on different types, and I advise you to go through different options. Okay, now I am mainly not changing the default settings to make our work easy, and make sure that we have this second option so the dimensions come in the center of the dimension line. You can bold it but uncheck it because it will take space, and you can also increase the marker size, but I am not increasing because I have to do a lot of dimensions which will take time. In dimension details, if display these two checkboxes are checked, so please make sure that these are unchecked. I don't want that my dimensions are congested. Let me save the favorites by the name dimensions. Okay, click OK to proceed. Okay, make sure that the dimension tool is selected and dimensions favorite is selected in the favorite list. I have to define the first node of dimensions, zoom in and pan or zoom out where necessary. Click the first point, hover mouse and wait to guideline appearance. When guideline appear, click on the second point. Now remember that the pen becomes filled when we reach the end point or hotspot. Okay, now I have to wait. Yeah, no, this is the slab. Let me zoom in, and that's the point. Similarly, this guideline, that's the point. Not node or point. Okay, I am going to placing the nodes where necessary. This wall I have defined, so I am not defining this wall again, and carry on my project. Yeah, one this point and this. I am not dimensioning the partition wall here, and this. Okay, yeah, that point. Right click. Okay, now I have to locate the position, so click upward, zoom out to see the results, and pan where necessary. You can see how easily you have placed the dimensions, and that is the quality, you can say, quality of the Vico software. Okay, one thing which I forgot is, first of all, you should do the options, project preferences, and then dimensions. Here make sure some of the settings, otherwise your dimensions will be different than mine. First of all, this option should be selected, which is the linear default option, and feet and fractional inches should be selected, and fraction should be 1 over 8 inches. If the fraction in small type checkbox is checked, it will show small fractions. Other settings are here. So first of all, you should do the project preferences. I forgot to tell you in start. After that, okay, I am again defining the first node, and this is the second node. Right click, okay, and then place above it. Now this is the complete length. Okay, I am going to place the dimension on the other side. It's the second node, third node, and fourth node. I am not, and right click OK. Okay, I am not defining the dimension for exterior wall. And now for total, I am defining the two nodes. Right click OK and place left to the previous dimensions. Here I want to show you that these dimensions points, or you can say fonts, are so small you can change it in info box. Let me change it. The respective dimensions are selected and then 15. Press escape and then select this dimension, and again in the info box type 15 point. Similarly, you can increase these points, but it will become very congested. Let me try to 10. You can see this become very congested. So I am going again to 5.5 point. I should go to 5.5 point. Otherwise, I will one will not be able to see, properly read it. 5.5 point. Now these are okay and are not congested so much. You should go through the project. Okay, this first point for partition wall and second point. Okay, and go upward. This is the partition wall, 4.5 inch. You should go throughout the project and dimension where you find necessary. I will do some of them. Now let me find what else I should dimension. Okay, let me dimension these things. Okay, and it will be very difficult if I define dimension for all individually. Let me delete it. Oh, slab is selected. Let me select dimension. No. Yeah, now dimension selected. Delete. Make sure that while selecting dimension, slab is not selected. Remember, this is the slab which is selected. So you should be very careful, otherwise you will delete the slab. At which point I should start? Let me place all these dimensions towards right. I think towards right it will be okay. So click on the first node, second node. Be careful to see where I am placing the nodes using the guidelines. I am unable to have this guideline, so I am not going to dimension the partition wall. And wait for guideline. Yeah, this is the guideline. Click on point when intersection cursor appears, and that's the other node. I'm not defining this wall. Let me define it for dimensions. But here once you defined, no need to define other again. There's the guideline other node. So keep on defining the nodes, or you can say locating the nodes. I am locating nodes, yeah, here. And one node here. Node exterior to exterior will be better. So place exterior. So all these one node, two nodes I think are still remaining. One node is still remaining. Right click, OK, and then click towards your right. So you can see, zoom out to see that all these dimensions are done very easily and automatically. Zoom out to see what else I can dimension. You should go through it yourself and dimension each and everything. I am going to dimension some of them. Okay, this should be the kitchen should be dimensioned. You can also dimension using the text tool as we have written the text. These dimensions are also now defined. What else I can dimension is partition wall is dimension. What else is remaining? There is much thing remaining, but I want to dimension such that there should be no congestion and no confusion. Let me define the nodes here. Right click OK and then click upward. So these dimensions are also defined now. Yeah, what dimension is remaining? Let me dimension this also. There's the third node and fourth node and that fifth, sixth and carry on. Place nodes where necessary. Okay, here make sure to zoom in to select the proper point. When the door is highlighted, you have to click that point and not when the wall is highlighted. If you click where wall is highlighted, so wall will be dimensioned. Remember this point. Zoom in when the door highlighted, I clicked, not when wall is highlighted. These are the some points you can have mistakes in it. Zoom in and click here. Now right click OK and let me show location. This will be OK. So dimensions are also defined for this site. I want some more dimensions to have. Okay, these bathrooms and dressing rooms need to be dimensioned also. Okay, 4.5 inches. Let me define this 4.5 inches here also. This should not be repeated, but I repeat in this specific case. Now let me define these dimensions. I am placing nodes, right click OK and then click such that there should be no congestion between your dimensions. Zoom out to see where else I can have dimensions. This should also be dimensioned because it's necessary. I haven't done it. Let me define some nodes. Right click. And now place such here. Zoom in. You can see that there is no such congestion. All the dimensions are placed very nicely and accurately and easily. This much dimensions are okay. You can go through other dimensioning options and dimensions. What I am going to do now is to tell you about one other method. Zoom out to see the complete project and then select the Mark You tool from the toolbox. Select the complete project in Mark You and then again select the dimension tool from the toolbox. Go to edit, select all dimensions and Mark You. So all dimensions are selected here. I am now clicking on the layers. Okay, these are already on a single layer. If they are not on a single layer, select all this by this method which I told you and then click on one layer. Now all the will be converted to one layer. Why I am converting all these dimensions to one layer? Because I can hide and unhide. Go to okay, the dimension still selected. Right click to show context menu and then layer, hide layer. You can see that the layers are hidden. Escape and zoom in or zoom out to see the project completely. Now how I will unhide it? There are many methods, but I will try to use the simplest method. In the layer settings dialog, double click on the eye icon and click on OK. Now the dimensions are again unhided. In this way you can hide and unhide the dimensions according to your own will. So this was the end of the Vico Constructor 2008 11th tutorial, in which we have done the dimension